Ladies and gentlemen, Mary and Dean are going to try and avoid hacking each other to death.
Well, we're going to slaughter ourselves.
I don't think we've got any life insurance out on you.
Oh, glass! No point, you know. Save up all these years. Right. Greetings. For those of you who don't know me, that's a few. My name is Dean Wayland, and you know Mary Campbell. And Jasper Hedges, known to some of you as Jeffrey, and Marion Pittman in the back, we're all members of an organisation called the Fightschool. Before we start, just explain who and what we are and what we do. The Fightschool was set up in 1991 to teach what is effectively a revolutionary fighting system for use by reenactors and live role players, which was developed over a 10-year period to produce a competitive, but yet relatively safe, inverted commas, fighting system. And it is a system. What you're going to see when we're out here fighting isn't a show. We will be fighting to win. We will be trying to kill one another, inverted commas. The idea is it's a sport. So we work within a framework of rules which give us all the various techniques and moves that we can do, like playing a game of sophisticated three-dimensional chess. You know, all the moves are known, but it's the interaction between those moves that give the dynamics of the combat. So it's not like putting on a show where the object of the exercise is to entertain you. I'm trying to win. You know, I want to walk away with a head in my hands.
Football!
Now you're getting the picture. Yeah, right. That's the theory. That's the theory. Right. Those of you who've read a little bit in the programme are aware that I have a small eyesight problem. I'm incredibly short-sighted. To be accurate, I'm registered as blind. That's your front of it there, Adam. I hasten to add, I've been doing this now for 14 years, and I haven't hurt a single soul yet. I haven't sent anybody to hospital, except myself. So, you know, self-inflicted injuries don't count. Consequently, the system was designed by me over a long period, so if I can use it safely, everybody can. This is the theory. Well, we'll see what this will do to me later. Okay. Well, I think what we'll do is we're going to start off by introducing you to the hardware, because watching a fight is a bit sort of meaningless when you see all these swords flashing around and you think, okay, so it's a sword, so what? Just how big and how heavy are these things? Let's have a go. Right, can you pass me out the... Thank you very much. Okay, now some of you are going to know the answer to the question I'm about to ask, because we were doing some display in there yesterday for some people who said that they weren't going to be unable to be here today, as I see that they are here. So, if you know the answer to this question, don't reply. Otherwise I'll set Mary on you. Slaves don't need to respond to that one. Right, first things first. Okay, this sword I'm holding here is typical in form of the swords that were in use from about the middle of the middle of the sort of the 13th century right through to the 16th century. I mean, this particular one, in terms of its decoration, I had to twist and nail, places it right at the end of the 15th. But the general format, a bastard hilted sword, they started to appear in small quantities at the end of the 13th, but very rarely, but mainly took off in the 14th. Mainly because people started ditching shields because they needed to wallop one another rather harder than they originally thought they had to, because they were really wearing too much blasted armour. Oh well. Anyway, any guesses on how much this sword weighs? Anyone want to guess? It's the right weight. Come on, does somebody want to place a guess? Please. You mean you all know the answer to this one?
I don't know, let me tell you.
Okay, come on, someone tell me the right weight.
5 pounds?
2 to 3 pounds?
5 kilos.
5 kilos, right, 5 kilos. Any advance on 5 kilos? 11 pounds for those who aren't metricated. Sold to the man for 11 kilos. Yeah, right. I'm going to retire on 11 kilos of what? Okay. Would you believe me if I told you that this sword weighs 2.5 pounds? I missed the ball, wow. 4 we thought the other
There's plenty of time yet.
We thought the Excalibur guys didn't get it, so we thought we'd have a go. Okay, yeah, £2.5. It's very, very light. So I think what we'll start doing is I'll pass it around. If you like, just pass it around. Keep it sort of pointing this way.
We'll get it back onto the rear.
So we'll get some of the other down if we can. Can we have the score? We'll pass those around. The green and the red. We'll just pass those around. Double isn't hose, yuck. This is a genuine double isn't hose. Even the hose are held up by the double, you see. If those strings go, your trousers hit the deck. Yes, that's a codpiece, madam. Right, okay. These are the swords that we use for teaching. Now, the school basically runs a series of courses. We're not actually a reenactment to a live role play group ourselves, or rather we weren't until this year. Because over the years, we have collected a small handful of students who come to us and said, teach us to do your sport, but don't belong to actually any other societies. So consequently, they said, well, we'd like to do something with this wonderful skill we have. So this year we started running our own sort of field events for the first time. It's been quite good fun. And we're trying to do it in a style which doesn't tread on any other reenactment society's toes. So the best way I can describe what we're doing is, imagine the Three Musketeers meets Shogun. Hence the Japanese weapons and Mary's rapier and all the other ancillary. My costume is a little earlier than that. That's because it's the reenactment period I got involved some years later after starting all this. Anyway, I'm going to pass this one around. This is we have 4 of these swords matched, which we use for teaching. Pass it around. Oh, right. Alright, this sword that's going around now is actually only 4 ounces heavier than the other one. It's 2 3/4 pounds. Now, these are typical what we call bastard or hand-and-a-half swords, 15th century style. We use these swords because it's easier to learn when you start this activity by using a sword two-handed. Those of you who played RuneQuest D&D and DM said, no, you've got to start with a single-handed weapon before you can move on to a two-handed weapon. That's rubbish. You start with two-handed weapons and move down to one-handed weapons, because with a one-handed weapon you're using about 1/3 of the muscle groups, which means it's a lot harder to do. So we always start off by teaching people to use these things as two-handed weapons and then graduate onto them as single-handed weapons. After that you move on to using things like two weapons, one in each hand, a dagger, which we'll give you a demonstration on in a little while. Right. I think it's about time that we actually did a little vignette, a little fightette, to show you what we actually do. So, you want to go first, Frank? Yeah. What would you like us to have? What do you want to do? We'll just do. We've decided that it's been a long weekend, and so we're going to really go at the top end. We're going to do a two weapons fight. Mary's going to slaughter me. I know what you're. Listen, do you want to sort of fold out your rapier? Sort of fold it up. Now, that is an example of one of the finest weapons that's available to reenactment today. Regrettably, it's made by a guy who's no longer working. He had to give up for health reasons. She's not passing it around because it's worth an absolute mint.
I'm not passing it around because other people don't have a sword.
Yes, that's true. It's a personal weapon. Basically, you're looking at about £500 worth of sword. Weighs. Okay, that's a rapier. It's a full military rapier. It weighs 2 pounds 2 ounces. Okay, that is typical. Most swords of that general proportion weigh between 2 and 3 pounds. So who was it who said 2 and 3 pounds? Yeah, right. Give the man a kicky goal. Okay. Okay, weapons. Yeah, I'll pass this around in a moment. This is a 17th century style left-hand dagger. It's used basically as a device for the left hand for both defence and attack. The two weapons style of fighting is what most people want to do because it's the most exciting form. It's damn good fun to actually do. The trouble is, my weapons are on average 50% heavier than her weapons, which means she's going to be faster than me. Plus the fact I taught her. Right, okay, the first thing I want to point out, what you're seeing is not a show. This is for real. We are both trying to win, which basically means we have a paradox to solve. And the paradox is, I want to win versus I want to survive. Think about it. Yesterday's fight that the chap from Excalibur did was entertaining. That was show work, and it looked very good. It's spectacular. It's designed for the public to go, wow, yeah, sparks, whoa, bang, bang. When somebody's trying to kill you, and there are things at stake, there's a very, very different set of attitudes. Stay here. Go forward. No, stay here. Run away. I need encouragement. So the first thing you should notice is that we're going to be a lot more cautious, and when we attack, those attacks aren't just sort of little bluffs for the purposes of making a lot of noise. They are blows that are designed to breach my opponent's defences, or have my defences breached, and a wound to be taken. Okay, we will be sort of doing little shrieks and things when we get wounded, because it's part of the hamming it up and falling around. So we haven't hurt anybody yet, not even much. Well, sort of ish. Well, actually, no. In 14 years, we've only had 2 accidents that required any first aid kit to be opened, and nobody's ever been sent to hospital, which is not a bad record. Okay, Mary. Okay. Are you ready? If it's not the whip, it's the swords. Okay, fight on. Ah, medieval footwear, lovely. No. The difference is, I'm trying to so much for plan A, hey? Oh dear. I have a small technical problem.
Would you like to use your sword instead of your dagger?
I won't say you're a gentleman. I have a problem, you see. The rules basically work on the principle that if I get hit in the same limb twice, it's called a game over. Sometimes worse, but not always. And she's got a very good defensive position there, which is very difficult for me to breach because okay, this is called the fun point because I now cannot move from the spot. The idea is the only thing that's holding me up is sheer willpower, determination and guts. Bullshit. Plenty of it. Sure you wouldn't like to say so. Somebody suggested it yesterday and it didn't work for them either. Now she's just
Egg butter.
Right. Oh dear, that was fun. I hope you noticed, well, you obviously noticed, it's very different to what you saw yesterday. Has anybody got any questions they want to ask right now while we're at this stage? Have you ever got a question?
What you lose?
That's a very good question. Actually, the answer is very simple. First of all, my eyesight, as I've pointed out, is pretty poor. I have a simple gauge which when I know my students are getting good is when they beat me legitimately. I know I've done my job right. Now, Mary is one of my best students. I've been training her for 5 years.
Can I point out you actually lost that one technically because I took out one of your arms very early on, which means one weapon facing two weapons, which you cannot.
You don't count the people, you count the weapons. You know, if there's one of you, you've got a single weapon, and there's two people with two weapons each. It's called 4 to 1. Run away. You know, just so to dispel the thing. When it comes to mortal combat, which we'll do in a little while, just like enough room to do it. You know, you see these films where the hero goes, "Yes, I'll take all 100 of you on." He beats them. Oh, it very rarely happens like that. You take the best swordsman, you put them up against complete amateurs, and hey, presto, the amateurs cream the best swordsman. It's like, heroes, like in Japan, always come to a very sticky end. However, that doesn't always work. We had an episode some years ago when some of our students were training. There was a particular advanced student who was helping me teach, who was irritating the hell out of them all the way through because he kept winning. Well, that's his job, you see. No cause given. And on passing their exams, they said, "We have a request." Yes, because you were there, weren't you? You were one of them. "We have a request." Now, there are 7 of them out of the class of 8 actually passed their exams. And I said, "We want to kill him." Young chap by the name of Andrew, and that's his rather nice sword sitting over there, the one with the ring guards. Do you want to pick it up and sort of wave it about? And he said, "Yeah, I'll take them on. Take them all on at the same time." 7 to 1. We were off fighting in we used to use a leisure centre. So we had 4 badminton courts to row them over. So I said, "Fine, stand back, you all know the rules, you know what to do." Now, the one thing they have, because they were already doing their first level course, certain basic premises of tactics don't always stick. Like, you gang up on your opponent. The individual in that situation, their job is to isolate and eliminate each individual target one at a time while stopping the others getting to him. So he runs around a lot. Young Andrew is like grease lightning. Zip, 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 zip all over the battlefield. When he had finished, there were 7 very, very disgruntled bodies who had decided, "Oh, we've learned a lesson." From that moment on, most of them have learned it thoroughly well. Anyway, but that proves that it can be done, but it's only done against people who really, really don't know what they're doing. And literally, with most people, once they get to what we call our second level course, they've got it worked out. You know, 2 on to 1, it's like, hey, heavy, you know, that's the one makes a bolt for it, thinks it can, you know, it's okay, but I might just stay and fight. 3 on to 1, negotiate. 4 on to 1, sprint. Right, okay. Pass me more junk as a weapon around and I want to fight. Okay, that's all right, I'll pass my around. Right, let's pull out this first. Right, I'm just going to show you these. Now, regressively, we can't actually fight with these because 1, that's a real one. 2, this one doesn't belong to any of us. This has been loaned to us by one of our students. It's what we call a private purchase weapon, which means it's expensive. So, you know, he's lent it so you guys can handle it, but we can't fight with it. So we can show you what they're like. Now, some people came along and had a look at these. Now, they look very similar. This one is what they call an Iaito. It's basically made in Japan for the people who do the various martial arts, particularly the sword drawing art of the Is anybody familiar with this? Yeah, it's where you see them sort of practicing. You know, I'm sitting in a tea house and I get bushwhacked, and they sit on their knees and they draw their sword and they cut these imaginary targets. It's a sort of personal development thing, but it's very, very popular. Well, that sword was made for that. Consequently, they've taken a few shortcuts on cost. So when we built this thing, we had to correct all the errors. Like the collar was like the wrong shape. It should go around the bottom of the blade, protecting the cutting edge from the scabbard, so you don't split the scabbard or blunt the blade when you draw it. Needless to say, these swords are all blunt. They're not actually cutting sharp weapons. The other difference is, I'll pass both of these around together, and you can handle them one in each hand. You'll discover something very interesting about it. This sword weighs 1 pound 14 ounces. This one weighs 3 pounds. This one, when you hold them up vertically, like that, this one feels heavy, this one feels light. When you do this one feels heavy, this one feels light. And that's because in the butt of this particular weapon, there is a secret pole designed to make it safer for us to hit people with. Because when you try to stop this thing, it doesn't want to stop. It says, kill, 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 cut, 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 cut. This one goes, well, I might, if you really want me to, I'll cut, but you really have to make an effort. So this is a much safer weapon. Regrettably, it's slightly heavier. So I'll pass these two around so you can compare them. Just pass those along. Put your hands up near the guards, and then you can feel it. Those of you at the back will have to be a bit more careful than those of you in the front. Please be careful. We do need it. I would recommend that those at the front, when the people behind you got it, don't move. Be very, very careful. Trusting these people. My God, I've been with them for 2 days. I know what they're like. My God. Right. What we'll do is, I think I'm going to put these two against one another. Right. Well, what would you like to use, madam? You choose.
Use the rapier single-handed if you want without the dagger.
Okay, single sword. Right.
You've done.
My chance to watch somebody else die.
You've handled.
Jasmine, do you actually want to borrow these guys? Right, incidentally, the gloves I've just given to Jasper are the ones that we use for teaching. They're actually motocross gauntlets with armoured plastic out of shells, because in training the hands tend to get bumped more than anything else. What tends to happen is when people move onto field work, where they're required to wear authentic period things, a pair of gloves like this will actually on the whole suffice, because what tends to happen is people's natural instinct when somebody hurls a weapon at them is to block, i.e. put a weapon in the way. Sometimes they don't always get it right, and it's their pinkies that get it. Ouch. What we teach is a thing called the parry. Can I have a demonstration of a block? Mary, Jasper, cut Mary, Mary block it. This is a block. Notice she doesn't, we don't smash into the weapons because they're expensive and we don't want to trash them. As this is a sport, we're not doing it as a show, so we're not interested in having sparks flying, we're just interested in scoring points. Once you've realised that you failed to make your successful attack because it blocked you, you go somewhere else and attack them somewhere else. No point in wasting energy and making big noise. Okay, do it again, another block. Come on, be a bit more energetic. The trouble is, it's very difficult to do these things under an artificial situation where you're doing it as a deliberate move. It's much better to do it actually in combat. So when we see the combat, you'll see these moves done. Right, Jasper, make an attack on Mary. Mary, I want you to parry it. Demonstrate a parry. Now, the difference is, do that again. Has everybody seen that? Mm-hmm. Right. Now, what that does, it's an inch is as good as a mile. You depress your opponent's weapon, which effectively pushes it away from you. You withdraw your lead leg so that it doesn't get clipped by the enemy's weapon, because your first avenue of defence is always evasion. Get out of the bloody way! You know, none of this, oh, cling, 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 cling. This sort of style of fighting where you clang, 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 really developed in the 19th century. It is a very late technique. Earlier on, lots and lots of parrying, lots and lots of evasion. In the medieval era, the late 15th century, when they were starting to write the original combat manuals, they called it cut and dodge. That was their term. You know, you cut people, and you jump out of the way. None of this sort of standing away from you, because if you put your nice pretty sword up, somebody goes, whop! Oh, I've got a really nice, pretty, expensive, useless dagger. That's what tended to happen. So, anyway, what we're going to do now is these two are going to beat each other up for your entertainment. Round of applause for the people. Come on, round of applause. That's benefit the one that's going to die.
One or two is taste salad then.
Pardon? Okay. Ready, Mary? Ready, Jasper? Okay, fight off. Now, while they're fighting, you can take photographs if you want. The flashes won't cause any problems. Well, not much. Notice that all the attacks are lateral. They all go through the sides. The reason for that is that this system was designed for people who fight without armour. Because of the problems when the system was originally developed, armour was virtually...
Bleed quietly.
Is she bleeding?
No, Jasper.
Oh,
Jasper,
okay.
maybe.
Ah, he is, isn't he? She likes this. There's actually getting the quick kill is considered sort of a bit blasé. The one that everybody likes is what she did to me. Chop both arms off, both legs off, and just leave them standing. Right, as I was saying, all the attacks are lateral. The idea is, most people who do this activity cannot afford armour, because most people are involved with something where the requirement for it is like you've got to have like this absolute authentic armour, and it's horrendously expensive. The trouble is, if you do that, you become very vulnerable. The human body is not designed to be hit with an iron bar. You may have noticed this at some point in your life. I trust that you have. We are extremely vulnerable. So the areas that you can strike are limited. Would someone like to come and be a body? Come on, Marion. You're sitting there looking.
Where would you like me to start?
Actually, I'm not going to kill you. Right. Can everybody see Marion?
No.
Right. Do you want to step back, Marion? Can everybody see her now? All right, well, we'll shunt it from one end to the other. Come over here. Come over here, Marion. Just about there. Can everybody see Marion now?
Only bits off.
Okay, I'll do this twice. I'll do this twice. Right. Human body. Here is one. Human body. So you are human.
Near enough for devastation.
Look human to me. Right, okay. The human body not designed to be hit with an iron bar. Basically, I'll just demonstrate points to the targets you're allowed to hit. First of all, you can hold your arms up, indicate airspace. Right. Everything above this line here, her head, her shoulders, and now her arms, which are in what's known as the head space, everything above there is out of bounds. No weapon is allowed through this area here. And that extends out to the tips of her fingers in a circle around her, known as the head space. The intention is to prevent a head injury. Okay? You all know about things like the golden hour. If you get any kind of blow to the head, you've got on average about 1 hour before you get serious trouble. So what we do is we use a software-led approach to ensure that the head does not get struck. So no weapons coming at that. Her arms are indicating what's known as the airspace line between the head space and the attack band. All the attacks come in underneath her hands, like that. Okay, put your arms down. She has a corresponding ground space that extends from the top of their knees, going out to the same point. No weapon can attack through there. Weapons can exit through there, but they can't attack. So this confines all the attack areas to, you can put your dress down, to basically the soft target tissues, e.g. upper arms, lower arms, thighs, bottom, torso. For those of you who are female, you have an inbuilt advantage. You're not allowed to hit anybody in the groin, male or female. Women have a certain, should we say, couple of attributes which... yes, we're not allowed to hit those, because for those gentlemen who don't know, if you thwack a woman in the breast, it's just almost, well, effectively, it's as painful as being kicked in the crotch. So that gives you an indication of just how painful it can be. So you don't hit the breasts, which means the target area on a female
I can cope with it.
Plus the fact that on average they're shorter, which means on average you've got, God, what am I going to hit? However, what they do have as a disadvantage is they have shorter arms. We reach out and we can get them. But, so pros and cons and pros. Okay, turn around. Okay, the back. The back is what we call, we have two types of targets, primary and secondary. Secondary targets are targets that must be attacked with special care or by special rules. The back is one of them, spinal column just down here. If you've ever been hit in the back, you know how painful and how crippling that can be. So all attacks to the back, there are special rules about how you achieve it. And there is a completely special rule, which may get demonstrated today, but I can't guarantee it, depending on the situation, called a back attack, which is where Marion doesn't know I'm here, and I'm coming up behind her, and I'm going to be a complete bastard and kill her. And what I will do is I get to striking range, and I shout the words, back attack. Now this is to stop her from any point stepping back inadvertently because she's in combat with somebody else, and stepping onto my weapon. But as soon as she hears that, what happens is everybody who can't see something going on freezes, just in case it's them. And a momentary freeze, it's a split second, it's literally back attack, and they go, fuck it. Because it's an instant kill, game over. You didn't make it, you were done, you didn't look over your shoulders. So people tend to be a little bit more, what's going on behind me? Okay, you turn around. The lower arm, as for those of you who know, is full of bones. This is also a secondary target. Generally speaking, doesn't get hit with swords because this bloody thing seems to be moving around all over the damn place and you rarely ever get it. Tends to get hit in dagger fights because it's an available target. Again, we'll demonstrate that a little later. Okay, that's enough of that. Go sit down. Right, there's me and Jasper all to have a little fight. Maybe I can win.
The other rabbit loves on the chair.
Oh, right, sorry. Right, definitely we've got those ones. Right. Oh, yeah, we'll do it. Oh, yeah, you have to use your thing. One of your two. The woman wants to do, at some point in this session, what we call a two-dagger fight. That is, each party has two daggers. Very, very silly, and it's fun.
This is silly sound.
Yeah, it is fun. It's fun. A combination that would rarely, in fact, in real life be used, but it's it's fun. We'll also be talking about sort of some of the grisly aspects of history, you know, the blood and the gore. For those of you who are interested, I trust a few people are interested in a bit of blood and guts.
We'll be showing them how to make some later.
Right. Well, I'll show you how to get there first, then you can do the makeup job after, if it's necessary. Right. What we'll do is we'll do a advanced assault versus advanced assault fight. We're using a limited range of attack forms in here because of the height of the ceiling, and we don't really want to hit the ball. But one of the attack forms that is commonly used is the long stroke, which I'll demonstrate on here, which is an attack form from up here, and it involves a move which is like that, and another version which is done like that. They're very, very powerful strokes. They're used in scoring. In a confined space like this, you tend not to use them. Basically, because you've got fucking posts and ceilings and audience. So it's much more like. So we're going to use what's called short strokes and counter strokes, which are simple ones. But anyway, right. Are you ready, Jasper? Ready. I'm off. Two swords, I choose artillery. Okay. Ready? Ready. Button. Oh! Oh my God. I really, really must change religions. I want to do another one. Come on. Oh God, my whole body's stuck over there. Who was feeding me drinks last night? You're to blame, honestly. Right, okay. And again. Switch on, Dean. Okay, ready? Ready. Fight on. Fast. Excellent. This is what I like to see.
Just make a quick announcement. Is anybody here who stayed in a hotel, who's got a room, and hasn't vacated it yet? Yes. You've got until 12:30. I'm told this is gonna go on until we get fed up, or they all do die. If you want to sneak out at some convenient point, you've got half an hour before they chuck you up on the street.
Yeah.
Right.
Dave, are they arranging you with school bags?
I have no idea.
Well, your mine is in your room.
That's when we lose our federal kids.
Well, you're here tomorrow, aren't you? There's only those that are vacating for today got a half hour.
Oh.
We've got space. Okay, we'll do that next. Would you? Right. Okay. Oh God. 3 corners fine. Okay. Multiple melee. That is where you get more than one person fighting you. Oh my God. Ah, I know. Jasper, you and I versus Mary.
Sounds better.
Absolutely. I know. Yeah, all right.
It takes that,
Mary, you can use 2 weapons. Okay, Jasper, you and I, single weapons, she, 2 weapons. So,
Use 2 weapons if you like.
really? Jasper, 2 weapons apiece.
Oh, grudge match. Hang on, this is 4 versus 1, isn't it?
Well,
Sprint.
4 versus 2.
Oh, 2.
So it's 2 to 1 odds,
Okay.
which basically is, yes, she might stand there and fight. You tend to be a bit more defensive, except you're a very aggressive fighter.
I usually take the strongest out first, because the weakest is a tactical obstacle. Sort of thing in the middle. Take the strongest out first.
Which one do you decide to be the middle?
In the school it's cheating because I know who's been doing it how long. I know their weaknesses.
Basically, I'll just give you a very simple sort of guided tactic so you can have a better chance of reading what's going on. Okay, the first basic rule of this business is she doesn't want us. Now, if you can just sort of stand in the centre here.
Not rather not.
I know. Okay, just if you stand there. What she doesn't want is this position. This is our ideal. What she wants, swap with Mary, is this position. Now, what happens is if I'm not a very smart fighter, I'll just rotate on the spot. She will sprint around, he will be constantly running around my back, trying to get to one side. But every time he changes direction, he goes the other way. Then she goes the other way. Now, what I have to do in this situation is always move off in an alternative direction. So, for example, what happens is you move slightly that way, just move slightly that way, and she moves slightly this way. At this point, I don't go this way, we just wind up doing the same thing again. What happens is I go this way, and he goes that way. Oh, look what we've got! A merry, gentle sandwich. Well, that, ladies and gentlemen, is the theory. Needless to say, things like slipping medieval footwear and other people, terrain obstacles, posts, silver balls, tend to change the tactical situation. Plus the fact that he's younger than either of us, she's better than either of us.
You're more devious than most of them.
Fairly even then.
Quite right. I've got to have something on my sleeve. So, Uzi knife. Wrong game. Okay, yes. That's a very good. Who's got the mini Uzi? All right. Okay. Let's go for it. Now we'll start down in chapter and discuss tactics. Let's go. Tactics. Sorry, you just fall on their swords now. Whip me, Missy, whip me. Right, okay. Ready, Mary?
Did we talk about this?
No. Non-negotiable. That's right. Ready. Fight on. Now move to your left. It's a shoe that's not painted red. Move to your left. Left, 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 left. Just want to learn the basic tactics. Yeah, but you can go the wrong way, you lot. Jasper, what haven't you got left?
And one arm.
Right, put your weapons straight up and coming straight through. Ready? Ready. Rats! For those of you who saw the hits, you actually got me on the thumbs. That doesn't count, fortunately. Oh, thinking of that.
It's only a flesh wound.
I hate this.
Headbutt.
You knew my mother? No, no, no. Mother? Oh, well. Little exercise would go. Hello, miss. Warmed up over here. It's fun. Pink and furry sometimes if you get a bit dizzy where you want to go. Oh, you kill them. Run away.
Do you want to try
Bring forth about this. Bring forth the cavalry. It's only a flesh wound.
It's only your flesh.
You discovered the flaw in my flat. Whoa, shit. Okay, an A and B. Ah, yes, C. Now, go straight to Z. Bridge, sunken.
bridge to the deck?
Off ball.
That's what she's playing on, playing with me. Is that wrong? That backward does it just every time. Evasion is a very good technique. Don't get me that easy. Fine. Well, so much for Plan Z. Right. As you can see, it's tough now. Did you enjoy that?
Yes.
Now, you can see why we feel that 2 weapons combat is the most exhilarating. That takes a lot of training. The courses that we run, we run a core 3 basic courses in what we call War Sword, which is, we differentiate it as War Sword because we're not talking about fencing weapons, we're talking about weapons that were designed and intended for war. So things like the rapiers, the bastard swords, the katana, they're all weapons that our forebears used for cutting each other up as an extension of politics. So, well, you heard me about Machiavelli yesterday. So, one of the things I'm just going to sort of like illustrate now, just a sort of a little aside, is about just how effective are these weapons in real life. How many of you, when you read fantasy books or watch movies or play role-playing games, sort of think, I wonder what would happen if. Mary, come over here.
Yes, sir.
Right. Now, I'm going to actually, I'll pass this one around a little later. This is, again, a private purchase sword. This is as fine a quality weapon that you can actually get at the moment. This weighs 2.5 pounds. It's got all that metalwork and everything on it. And it's 4 inches longer than the ones that me and Jasper were just fighting with. It's very, very nice to handle. It's also 180 pounds worth of weapon. However, what I'm going to use it for this time is to illustrate some of the icky bits of history. Right. First of all, as I said, the human body is, yes, you can hold down your stomach, if you know what's coming. The human body is not designed to be hit with sharp weapons. Now, when you play games like, who here's played AD&D? Come on, stick it, oh, be honest, confess. Oh, right, the hands up. I don't really want to admit to this. Okay, those of you who've played AD&D, RuneQuest, or Cthulhu, or any of the other sort of grisly games where bits fall off people, you're playing in a game where it's knocking hit points off. Human body doesn't function like that. It does have some peculiarities. I mean, you can chop bits off and people don't notice until until a little later, then don't care and keep on going. But let's see, 30 feet is about. Okay. Can everybody see Mary roughly? At least a man. Maybe a hand in the head. I've wanted to do this for ages. Okay. 1.5 inches below the average person's waistline lies the peritoneum sac. Does anybody know what the peritoneum sac is?
Where your intestines are kept.
Yes. What are your intestines under? Pressure, tension. They don't do this in many movies because it would completely zap them from the What you do is a simple move, no great vigorous cut, but if I did this, just walked past her with a sharp weapon, push it into her stomach and go like that, cut through into the peritoneum, a nice little split, those of you at the back of the room could theoretically be hit by her intestines. They have been known, there have been bodies found on battlefields with the intestines sprayed up to 30 feet. Doesn't always happen, sometimes they just fall out. That won't necessarily kill you, by the way. An awful lot of times people have described situations in real battlefields where they've found somebody whose stomach is open trying to put the contents back in. Yes. That's it. No, you're not going to throw your breath or something now.
No, I was waiting for you to leave me again.
Right. Okay. Next thing. Stand up. Okay. Decapitation. Yippee! Okay. What do you think if I chop Mary's head off now would happen? So I get arrested.
From a round of applause.
We'd get a big cleaning bill.
Where and why? Come on. Yeah. How far do you think it would spray?
Decent amount, I think.
Yeah, a nice paint job, you'd be dripping all over the place. It's under 15 pounds per square inch pressure. Splat! Goes everywhere. Anybody here seen the film Ran? The Japanese film. It's where he does King Lear in Second Japan. And there's a bit right at the end where they cut off the villainess's head. And you don't see her head go, all you see is the blood go all up the wall. very irate samurai who does it. He was a bit pissed off. He had his clan wiped out as a due to this woman's activities. And there you go. These things happen, you know. Right, okay. Objects of real combat, in most situations, isn't actually to kill the opponent. It's to maim and disable. Principally, disable. Take away their fighting ability.
Stop using you back.
Yeah, you got it in one. Now, the interesting thing to bear in mind is, again, when we're doing combats here, they are tame by comparison to the real thing. The ferocity of combat is phenomenal. There have been a series of finds over the years. Early part of the century, there was a find at a place called Gotland. A place called Visby on the island of Gotland, just off the coast of Sweden. It's a bit unusual, this body find, because normally when there's a battle, they strip the bodies, all their armour, they turf them into mass graves and walk away. You know, a few Hail Marys over the top and that's it. At Visby, no one quite knows the real reason why, but they buried the bodies complete with their armour. And the people who did the burying left their gloves in the top layers of the soil. They were in a hurry. Now, the rumour is it was plague. This was 1361 after all. However, the interesting thing about that is that until that find, the only injuries that people could actually say that medieval weapons definitely caused were the ones that bit to bone. Didn't tell you anything about the injuries that people had sustained that didn't reach bone. Because of all the armour and all the other ancillaries that were about their persons, they could make a reasonable guess about what happened to them. Only about 10% of the bodies had died from a single injury. Most of them had died from multiple wounds. They had been hacked to bits. And the speed and the ferocity of those attacks is phenomenal. There's an interesting little illustration. There, if I take this sword, it's the one I'm going to make here. I'll go through it. What actually happened was, there was a gentleman fighting somebody else. He wasn't wearing particularly good head protection. Because of the nature of the battle, they'd grabbed all the armour out of the armouries and spread it out amongst everybody. So most people didn't have proper complement of kit. All those of you who saw, I can't remember the chap's name from Excalibur, he was wearing a mail coif. You know, mail hood type arrangement over there. That is worn over a padded cap. Now normally, certainly in this era, it was the practice to wear underneath the mail some kind of skull cap made of either hardened leather or iron. So that's why they always look in manuscripts like they've got big bulbous heads with mail on it. It doesn't look like that in the movies. It's because most people we don't actually bother actually doing the helmet. A lot of people didn't know about it. These guys now do. They've got to go and hopefully go and make some. Because they had the advantage that the mail stops the hardened leather from being cut, and the hardened leather stops the concussion getting through, and the padding stops the trauma. Hey, it's a really good helmet. The problem is, one of these guys was just wearing mail over a cap, because that's all he could get, because all the bowl was given to somebody else, because they didn't have enough helmets for them to go around, so they split it all up. You know, better to have something than nothing. And this body was found with a series of cuts across his head. When the pathologist looked at it, this is what they discovered. You must sit down here, right? Just do this in slow motion. A series of cuts to my head, very close. Bang, on the top. We don't normally do head cuts like this, so this is going to be a bit awkward for Mary to do. Okay, one cut came in. The guy began to fall. Second cut came in. Third cut. Fourth cut. Fifth cut. He had half a dozen cuts across his head. Now think about how fast you have to do that when somebody's just doing that, just falling over. Whack, 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 and you're doing it through mail. You're splitting the skull. This tells you everything. Not a happy bunny. This gives you an indication of the ferocity. Other indications are of the adrenaline rush. Now, most of us have heard stories about people in battles losing limbs and all sorts of things and keeping going. This is very true. You know, you've heard the stories of people on accidents on farms losing their hand and running the mile or two carrying their own hand. Okay, these things happen. Do you remember the policeman who lost his hand to some thug with a sword and they had it sewn back on? You know, he was standing there with his own hand in it. But he didn't pass out, he carried on doing what he was doing, just didn't feel it. It hurt later. Arrows. This is where I'm coming to. Everybody thought for a very long time, arrow, twang, you're dead. The evidence is now indicating that is no longer true. Arrows don't kill people, they degrade their fighting ability. Because there's another one of these bodies from Visby, of a man in his 60s, wearing armour, obviously on the battlefield, 3 arrowheads, and I don't mean little dinky things, I'm talking about broadheads, what they call the Type 16, which are big nasty blades, inside his skull. 3 arrowheads. They didn't kill him. It was the axe blow that went in there. The man fought on. There are loads and loads of references to people having arrows in their bodies, breaking them off and carrying on. Because unless it hits something absolutely vital, like the heart or an organ like the lung starts to fill it up with blood, you're not incapacitated. Yes, it hurts. But when somebody's going at you, the last thing you're worried about is that pain in your thigh or in your shoulder. You're thinking about surviving. Yes, you'll probably die from septicemia, a couple of days later or months later or something. But the immediate action is to respond to the situation. So most of the casualties in medieval battles die from multiple injuries. They're not hit once. They're hit 2, 3, 4 times, 5 times. Because think about it. You're fighting somebody for your life. Your life is on the line. You hit this guy. He begins to fall. What do? You hit him again. When you stop hitting him, you are convinced that he's not going to get up and come at you again. Now, a lot of the tactics that were developed, most people think that things like the samurai really had this wow fighting system, man, all the set moves. We are now discovering that the European school of swordsmanship was the same. The only difference is that because of the development of gunpowder, the development of professional commoners' armies, that whole tradition didn't carry through. It didn't carry through to the present generation, so it was lost. There are manuals. I've got a copy of a thing called the Fight Book. What's wrong?
Can you open the
Can we have the door open? Can you open that door as well? We've got some water over here.
Yeah, we'll take him outside and we'll take some water.
Yeah. One thing, just before we go any further, I'm just going to sort of mention a couple of things so that you get an idea of how this actually works from our point of view. If anybody wants to ask about courses and things like that, talk to me after we've actually finished the demo. I've got a couple of videos and things like that to give out, and telephone numbers and things like that. We'll explain how we work. We do come to you, you don't come to us. It makes it a lot easier for you. Makes it a lot easier for us now. Anyway, do you remember that fight that me and Mary had where the weapons were going all over the place? The 2 weapons fight, which we enjoyed. It was quite fun. There's a Japanese concept called no sword, no intention. That concept applies to virtually all sports, but in this sport it's particularly applicable. I'll explain what it is, and it's something that you get into, and when you do, you walk out of it, whether you win or lose, on a complete high, because it makes you feel wonderful. It's where no sword is where your attack is, you decide what you're going to do, and your weapon does it for you. Action is your training, and your subconscious takes over and directs weapon. Instead of saying, okay, I'm going to hit them on the arm now, okay, back a bit, down a bit, left, right, underneath, oh, and over, yes, and I've got him, yippee. You don't think that, you just go, give him the arm, done. Wow, oh, that was good. When you start off, you get to that stage by the end of the first level course, you're deciding where you're going to hit, and you make your attack. You hope that you make it. However, the ultimate, and it takes some time to achieve, is what's called no sword, no intention. This is where you go into combat, your mind is concentrating on overall tactics, battle tactics. Where are my opponents? How am I moving? Your individual combats with people are all automatic. There is no conscious decision making about the way that the weapons are moving. It's all automatic. It's your training taking over. An attack comes in, you block, you parry, you evade, make a counter-attack, kick off you, move, thinking at the same time, where's my partner, where's everybody else going on, where's the objective, keep going, beating this guy up, running through. And when you get into that state, it's almost trance-like, and it can be absolutely wonderful. When you get in a very, very concentrated fight, it becomes extraordinary. I'll give you one example, and then we're going to let you vote for which way you want us to die. Many years ago, have you ever seen these Oriental movies where the hero goes, They stand up with their swords above each other's head, they're facing one another and not moving. Have you ever seen that? And everybody goes, what's a bit boring? What are they doing? Oh, they're playing tracks, aren't they? You know, they're looking at each other and sort of trying to win. Actually, what's actually going on is that you can't read the fight. You can't read the tactics that are involved in that. Give you a simple example. Mary, grab a sword. I'm just going to illustrate this point very simply. I'm not going to fight, by the way. Can you see us, by the way? Right. A situation arose some years ago in a fight which is very memorable for me. I died. This was, the person who I was actually fighting wasn't as good as I was at the time because I was teaching him. But he managed to pull off a particularly wonderful move. Very, very simple. The fight started, there was a small flurry of exchange of blows. My opponent then learned to do what's known as a long stroke, the counter long stroke. The weapon went up above the head. Now, that is a powerful threat, which I have to deal with. I'm not allowed to block that blow, because it's so powerful in reality, it would probably break my weapon and cause me a severe injury. So the counter to it is called evade, get out of the way, or do exactly the same back. It's known as a timing in one, which is, you kill me, I kill you. However, when you get that, there's a moment, a fraction of a second, when you decide, am I going to commit this attack? Am I going to die? And both of us said, no. And what happened was this. We locked up like that. Now, whoever made the first false move dies. Now, the chap in question, his advantage over me was 11 years younger than me. Yes. And plus the fact that he's also, what, 6'2"? 6'2", and he's extremely, extremely fit. So, we stood there, and we went into this no sword, no intention state, and we could feel it. I mean, we talked about it after, and we were completely switched on. We couldn't hear, we couldn't see anything, totally concentrated. Then my body said, "Whoa, I'm not playing this game anymore." This muscle here began to vibrate under the stress. We were standing there apparently for about 10 minutes. We totally lost track of time. The people who were watching it, there were two groups of people. People who knew the fight system and were completely riveted. And other people came and said, what's going on? It was a bit boring. And the other people then explained to them what was going on so they could understand it. And my muscles started to do this. I couldn't, after a while I was beginning to shake and I thought, I've got to relax. And I relaxed this arm. The instant that my arm relaxed, ready? My arm started to relax and this happened. Go. And from my point of view, it relaxed. I saw his sword moving and I knew nothing I can do is get it. Because it just went flash down into my stomach and I just keeled over. And I was on such a high, it was like falling in slow motion. It was tremendous, it was so exhilarating. And the other guy just came out and said, Christ, that was amazing. I just saw my sword move and I thought, what's my sword doing? And his first realisation of what he'd achieved was when he's standing like this and I'm keeling off to the side. He goes, wow. That was his first experience of it. And when you come out of it, never, ever forget it. Mary, you can testify to that, can't you? Yeah. It's just one of those moments you think, ooh, wonderful, it's good to be alive. Well, that's not my case. Okay. Right. I think I'm not. Oh, right. Okay. Let's give you some idea. Who would like to see us kill each other? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Right. Okay. Fair enough. Okay. How do you want us to die? Horribly.
Slowly.
Submachine gun.
No,
Some people don't. Yeah, that's too quick.
All right.
Toothpicks.
Aha!
Death of 1,000 toothpicks.
What we'll do? Okay. Somebody did toothpicks. Okay. Pair of daggers each. Close enough. Right, this is a complete piece of silliness. It's fun. What people often like doing this, because what it actually does is it builds up your reactions. because daggers are so light, relatively speaking to swords, they move faster. We do tend to get bumps and bruises doing this, so this is one of the reasons why we don't do it that often, because its main target area tends to wind up being your forearms. Like, ah, Jesus God, what's going on here? What's going to happen? It's your silly idea.
Stand by Kerry.
Thank you. Remember, I'm an agency nurse, private rate. I'm not NHS these days.
More room out there.
Not enough seated.
Are we going to see it?
Yeah, let's talk about kids.
Yes? No? Sorry, thumbs down. Ready, Mary?
Oh, I was ready to win.
Okay, eyes on. Left arm, right arm, chopped off.
Excuse me.
Told you it was fast. It wasn't, it was just above my wrist.
I thought that was your glove.
You thought it was my glove?
Yeah.
Good enough.
Was it on my glove? Yes! Audience participation. I know something you don't know. I love it when people understand these references. Right? We all know we're on the same wavelength.
Got it.
Okay, dokie. Parallel? Slightly suspect?
Should be.
Never crossed my mind.
Nothing ever does.
Fighting sword.
It's the Princess Bride, what do you expect? Yeah, I'm there. Help you now.
You haven't got your right hands left.
Has my left arm been hit on the glove or on my arm? Come on.
Do you want an action replay?
All those in favour of the arm. All those in favour of the glove.
Right.
Quite anyway, kind audience. Yeah!
Glad we moved
That's
the
it,
telly.
just patch it on the glove. That definitely was my arm, but guess what?
I'd do that to her more often.
Working.
Right, Jasper.
Yes.
I think you should go ahead and go there. Right. What we'll do, I think what we'll actually know. Eric, you go up to another one, we'll do multiple. Okay, so we're tracking? Right. Just to, what we'll do two weapons, shall we? Right, what we'll do is in that case, once we're getting close to finishing off, just to end it, we're going to do what's known as a circle of treachery. Those of you who've played these sort of games before know what it is, but for those of you who don't, circle of treachery is, I'm on nobody's side. They're on nobody's side. We're only on their sides, their own sides. The objective is, one of us walks off the field. Some people tend to do things like, I sort of hang back and sort of let them fight it out, and I'm only going to kill one of them. As soon as somebody starts doing that, the others who think, we have a temporary alliance. So you have a series of incentives to keep moving. Right, okay. You okay with those? Right. Okay. Can we have a round of applause for the people who are going to die? It's 2 out of 3 are going to die here. Round of applause for the winner can be safe. Unless somebody gets a timing on one and we all die. These things happen. Okay, Jeff, you ready?
Ready.
Mary, ready?
Ready.
Okay. Fight on.
I did last one.
Oh no! Mary, if you would like to vacate the battlefield.
No, jump.
See, I've got the nickname of Dean the Deadly Dagger on the ground, so I never come from the front. I'm a coward. I'm a winner. Yeah! Okay, Justin Hedger, Mary Gentle, I'm Dean Wayland, we're the Fightschool.